Hey everyone, it's Bob Perkins with AISP's Inside Sales Studio, coming back for another Monday Morning Sales Minute. Mario, how you doing today?
Mr. Bob Perkins, I'm super excited to be here with you. Thank you for having me, my friend.
It's great to have you. It's been a while. I know you've spoken at some of our events and we've worked together, but you had a LinkedIn post last week and I commented and you called me and I said, you got to come on the studio to talk about this. It has to do with how to get personal, how to get through, how to break through the noise, how to be a human. Can you, we're going to do a two-part series this week, next Monday. And the first part, what can you bring to the viewers around this topic?
Yeah, well, that's a good question, right? So as founder and CEO of Vengreso, our big focus has been 100% around removing the spray and pray approach that many of our sales folks have been using, whether it's on email or even on phone, and very specifically on social channels or through video, right? Yeah. And we've all seen it. We've seen those videos that we get, with the whiteboard and it's showing it like, hey, Bob, hey, Mario, hey, Mary, right? And it's just like, that it's not personalized, right? So the whole trigger event of this discussion was another sales influencer had basically said, oh, you shouldn't personalize LinkedIn connection invites.
Wow.
So let's pause there for a second. Wow. And their study showed that it was only a 3%, a marginal increase of personalizing a connection request versus not personalizing a connection request. Now, just think about this for a second. You should just spray and pray and hit connect to a potential buyer, right? Is what they're saying. Just hit the connect button so that it shows up on their side on LinkedIn as either I'm going to hit the X or I'm going to hit the check. No messaging, no content, no context to what it is that you are trying to drive at. Now, I don't know how they did their study, but here's what I can tell you. That's dumb. Right? I'm just going to say it. That's dumb. Now, I want to think about this in just a pure common sense approach here, Bob. Why should we be focused on personalizing our outreach to buyers? Now, is it scalable? That's usually the first thing that most sales leaders are thinking about. Is it scalable? And that's the thing we freak out about because we want 100 calls a day. We want 100 emails going out. We want 100 LinkedIn connection requests. We want volume, because we're playing that game of, if I can have 100 pieces go out, I might get 3 that stick, right?
That was okay in 1970 and 1980, Mario, because that's all we could do.
Exactly. And we're here now in 2020, and we're still having this conversation of whether or not we should personalize communication.
I know.
So it's kind of like one of those things where, you get those mailers inside of the mail, right?
Yeah.
And if all it said was Vengreso, right? It didn't have any personalization. Just said my company name, and it's going to you. I'm mailing it to you. And it just says, well, actually, let's reverse it. It just said AAISP, right? I'm mailing it to Bob Perkins. Yeah. It's from me. Yeah. How would you ever know that, one, you're the intended audience, right? And two, how would that build a relationship in any way by me not even putting your name on the mailer?
Incredible. So, let's get into what can we do? So share something, a tip, one thing, two things today. And then I know you're coming back next Monday. So
what I tell sellers is no matter what, we have to bring the H to H back, human to human connection, right? Bob, when I see you, even if it's been a year, I give you a big hug, right? I'm giving you a hug or I'm shaking your hand. I'm doing something that establishes an emotional connection between two human beings, H to H, human to human.
Yeah.
And what sellers need to be thinking about is, in today's buying community and buying era, we are accustomed, even on a consumer basis, to expect hyper-personalization, whether it's from Facebook. We go to a website, and now we go to Facebook, and now we see the ads about that. We go to open up Netflix. Netflix shows us the last 5 things that we looked at and says, hey, you might be interested in this. Right. Amazon knows what we've purchased over the last 3 months, and it keeps telling me every 3 months, hey, you bought this. Would you like to rebuy it again? Right. Hyper-personalization. If we are doing this and we expect this in our personal lives, which we have, even Siri is getting better to be able to tell us or to listen to the conversation that we may be having so it can wake up and give us information, right? We are expecting this, Bob. Then what makes us think that we should not be doing this, and buyers on the buying side would not expect this as well.
I love the H to H. I love when you said I high five, I hug, I shake a hand. You can do that through email, right?
Exactly.
Through social.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's that. Like, first off, let me address this. Here's a tip for you right here. You asked for the tip.
Yeah.
We have 3 ways that we can address a buyer through, especially social specifically. Okay. You can use what we call formal voice. We can use friend voice, or we can use best friend voice. All right. Now, these are the 3 voices that we can use. We recommend, here's your tip, best friend voice. Let me illustrate.
Yeah.
I would say, "Dear Bob," that's formal.
Yeah.
"Hi, Bob," that's friend.
Better.
"Hey, Bob," exclamation point, that's best friend voice.
Yes.
And on social, we should expect that when we make outreach to an individual, that it's a social platform. Don't do "Hey, Bob," return, space in between. It's "Hey, Bob," and continue your sentence, right? Because we're writing a social blurb. Let that feel like it's an actual social channel, and use that best friend voice, not the formal voice. And if you're not comfortable with "Hey, Bob," exclamation point, continue your sentence, then the base minimum is use friend voice.
So it's like, "Hey, Mario, just noticed your nomination for the blank blank award."
Exactly.
Kind of tugging on the emotions a little bit.
That's exactly right, because we should establish ourselves as someone who can be a trusted friend, advisor, business partner, confidant, whatever it might be. And we want to use that type of voice in all of our communications. Now, some may say, what about on email? Well, on email is a bit more formal. I would never use the formal voice and say, "Dear Bob." No.
Yeah.
I would, at a base minimum, I would use "Hi, Bob," and I would put that comma, I'd put the return, and I'd make a paragraph. Now, for me personally, all of my engagement on email is using that best friend voice.
Yeah,
so
good.
that's just something for me personally.
Yeah, that's great. All right. So good tip, human to human, best friend voice. I love it. If you're watching this, try it tomorrow, see what happens, or try it today. Mario, next week, you're going to touch on what around this topic?
We're going to talk about PVC.
Ooh.
How do you personalize, and when do you do it? How do you bring value? Because we always say, bring value, bring value, bring value.
Yeah,
what does that mean? It's so cliche. What do you do? So how do you bring value? And how do you drive the right type of call to action inside your message?
I can't wait. If you're watching this, get back next Monday. Mario, thanks for joining us. And until next Monday, everyone, good selling.
Take care.
Bye.